Today we're going to be collecting every live series card in MLB The Show 22 in order to get 99 Randy Johnson as pictured on your screen, among many others. So let's go ahead and drop a ridiculous amount of stubs and get this completed. Vlad Jr. for 90 feels like too much. Garrett Cole for 33 is like kind of a no-brainer. Liam Hendricks I can just buy now. 13K. I keep backing out all the way. Let's get Cedric Mullins here for the Orioles. Like, I'm going to overpay on some of these just to get them right now. But we're going to complete these collections, and I think we're going to make up for it with the value we get back from the cards. So I'm pretty comfortable doing that. Pick up a Aroldis Chapman for 6K. If he started to, like, not walk people as much, aka stopped walking guys so much, he definitely could end up being a diamond, but his hits per 9 are so good. It'd be tough for a guy like Aroldis Chapman to go diamond. He would really have to cut down on the walks. Shane Bieber at 7K really isn't bad. I don't really want to play. I don't want to pay 3K for Emmanuel Clase. He's one I might put an order on, and it doesn't really even change much. Just maybe just for my peace of mind. And then the Indians will be done. Baez I can pay 5,400 for. And I know it's less of a gap between Clase. If someone wants to sell me Kyle Tucker for 10.9, like, that's something I'm not going to be able to pass up. I think that's like really good value for Kyle Tucker. Starling Marte, I think at 7K is really good value. Now, I think there's a really good chance that he doesn't perform quite to his level last year, which would lead to him dropping in price because his overall would be worse. But, you know, I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he plays well. It's just, it'd be unlikely for a player of his age to continue to get better. But, you know, we'll see. So trying to complete the collections here, there's a bit of an issue with the cross-platform from PlayStation to Xbox. But I think just over 200K for Acuna is a pretty fair price. And I know this is going to sound bizarre, but I have more stubs on PlayStation. So I'm gonna have to log into PlayStation in order to buy guys like Mike Trout and Max Scherzer. But we're really close to completing the collections. It's just a few more guys, Salvi and Yasmani Grandal, and then Vlad Jr. is going to be pretty expensive at just about 100K as well. But that's up next. Selling duplicates up to 97K, which means I'm going to put in a buy order for Vlad Jr. We're going to do just over 95K, and hopefully that sells pretty quickly, or is sold to us pretty quickly. So significantly more stubs over on the PlayStation now, and I don't think I'll have enough. Now, Vlad Jr., I have an order for it on the Xbox, but the cards all transfer over. It's a little bizarre. I'm going to put in an order for Yasmani Grandal. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to get the more expensive guys out of the way. And what I'll do is I'll put in an order for Mike Trout. 350 is pretty low for Mike Trout. In fact, I'm even considering it at 389. But if I can get him for 351, obviously, I would much prefer that because I can save on a whole lot of stubs there. But he's going to be the most expensive card in the game, probably for much of the entire year. Max Scherzer, I'm comfortable with at just over 54. I think that's a pretty good price for him as one of the highest overall pitchers in the game. Now, is he going to be that viable? I don't know. Probably not. And then Trey Turner becomes the next most expensive card, and one of the final ones that I actually need. Go 87,655. And I think if all those orders go through, all I need to do is get the intermediate expensive players like Yasmani Grandal and Salvi. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so the orders finally went through. I got the cards for roughly the price that you saw, except I have not purchased the catchers. So it's just Yasmani Grandal. 22K is fine. That's a 2K difference from the sell now. Really no need to put it in a buy order. And I mean, I guess I can do 20K for Salvi. I kind of just want everything now. But once someone sells me Salvador Perez, I should have every card in the game. And again, this is all thanks to you guys pretty much for watching my videos. I know if you're new to the channel, you go, it's 60,000 subscribers. It's not anything crazy. But even though my main channel has 400,000, I still am extremely grateful that you guys put me in this position to where I can make videos for my entire job. So all that's left to do now is go through and collect every single card. We have 82 Darren O'Day. Because you've probably seen a lot of these cards by now, I'm not going to spend too much time going through it, but I will take a quick look because a lot of these cards, first time I'm seeing them. Kevin Youkilis looks pretty decent. Remember him being a real problem. I'm a Yankees fan, and you know, I don't actually, I hate the Red Sox, right? This Gary looks so cracked, but yeah, I don't hate players on the team. However, when I was like growing up, this Jose Alvarado looks nuts. I definitely did. And it's Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and Kevin Youkilis and Dustin Pedroia. And man, I was not a fan of them. I really wasn't. My grandfather was born in Providence, Rhode Island, and grew up a huge Red Sox fan. Huge. And like he was so excited to see the Red Sox finally win the World Series. And I didn't buy Kyle Crick. Is this a joke? Yes, I'll get back to that. But what I was saying is basically like, you know, there's a bit of a soft spot in my heart for the Red Sox, even though like I do hate them. But man, I don't have Brian Lastivita. Tigers have Hal Newhouser. He's all right. I cannot believe I don't have some of these random low overall cards. Did they just add them into the game? I went through and bought all these cards yesterday. I'm one short on a lot of these different teams. All right, Justin Morneau. It's not a bad low diamond, to be fair. 40 of 40. This Dallas Keuchel was actually pretty good last year. He might be a good under-the-radar pitcher that you guys probably aren't thinking of. And it's like, yeah, 3 diamonds. The Astros collection is going to be super cheap. But if you can afford that, that's going to be a pretty good one to do, as we'll do the AL West. This Troy Gloss is really good. He can play shortstop and absolutely mashes lefties. Missing 2 on the A's. I mean, I can't imagine why these would have been just added, but the fact that they have no buy now or sell now price, meaning not really anyone has them or is selling them at least, it tells me that these were recently added into the game. Edgar Martinez, man, that's a DH with no power. I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that card. This card could be really sneaky though. Mike Napoli, ooh, really good contact and power. And I think he's going to have catcher eligibility, even if that's a first base card. But maybe he's a primary catcher. And he is a primary catcher. Yeah, this is one of the better catchers in the game. And for the Braves, Darren O'Day is on the Braves now. Well, I have 39 of 40, so I can't get Hank Aaron yet. I kind of got screwed on timing a little bit. There was a server maintenance, and they used that to put new players into the game. And the rarity on these guys is insane. And there was a glitch for a while where you couldn't even put in a buy order for these guys. They just were unknown, didn't exist in the game, yet you couldn't complete the collections without them. But now I finally have been able to get some of those guys. So Kyle Crick is collected and we get the 90 Ray Durham, which is actually a really good looking card. Yes, the power isn't phenomenal, and usually power is king, but you have a second baseman. You can afford not to have crazy pop at that position. He's got great contact. He's got great fielding and speed. He's a switch hitter. And the power, I think, is decent enough to where he could still be all right. So Ray Durham is a card that I actually like quite a bit. This is another guy. Who is this? Brian Lavastida. He is 1,000 stubs. He is so rare. There are 48 people trying to buy him for 1,000 right now. And yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. The 88 Jim Thome is not a bad card. Decent enough power, obviously. That's good power at this stage in the game. And decent enough contact to make him a viable option. So the Indians might not be, or the Guardians, jeez. The Guardians might not be that bad of a collection to do. Eric Hosmer's kind of whatever. I can't really talk too nicely about that card. The Oakland Athletics gives you a Raleigh Fingers. They just don't have any golds to warrant having a better reward. So, you know, Raleigh makes sense. For the Atlanta Braves, we got 40-40, gets you 94 Hank Aaron. He is a lefty killer. I wish his fielding was a little bit worse and his hitting was a little bit better. But yeah, this isn't a bad card. If you're a Braves fan, you know, you probably didn't watch Hank Aaron growing up, but you know him as a legend and one of the best ever, RIP. The thing is, he just kind of, he's just good enough to maybe play if you're a Braves fan, but not much more than that. 96 Gary Carter. Looks like one of the better catchers in the entire game. He looks like a better defensive Gary Sanchez, honestly. If we saw the 89 Gary Sanchez for the Yankees, just slightly boosted in some areas as well. The thing with Gary Carter is his swing hasn't been good in previous years, and if you're new to MLB The Show, swing, for whatever reason, is just a thing that matters a lot. Mike Schmidt's another one. His swing just hasn't been that good, and that will hold back the performance of some of these guys. But on paper, they look decent. Rookie Steven Strasburg, we remember his unbelievable debut. Hit per nine's a little bit low, and that's the big one. But could be viable against some players. Cubs get you 84 Kyle Hendricks. He's a control artist, doesn't really throw hard enough to be that usable. The Cincinnati Reds get you 83 Tony Perez. He is, whatever. He exists is what I can say. The Brewers get you 90 Robin Yount. He kind of looks a bit similar to the Ray Durham, except he's not a switch hitter. His contact's a little bit better, speed's a little bit worse, fielding's a little bit worse. Plays a different position. Does that Robin Yount play center or short? That one's a center. It's crazy. Robin Yount won a Gold Glove at shortstop and center field. He is one of the only players to win a Gold Glove at multiple positions. I want to say Placido Polanco did that as well. Kind of a weird stat. Cardinals get you 85 Lee Smith. He could be viable. Might have a forkball. Four-seam slider, cutter, forkball. He could be decent out of the pen. Like, reliever overall, you can't really focus on too much. It's more about pitch mix. This is Brandon Webb. He's going to be heavy sinker baller. Maybe. Per nines aren't great. For the Rockies, you get an 84 Larry Walker. What can I say about some of these gold cards? Like, they exist. They're probably not going to make your team. But for the Dodgers, you get a 94 Kirk Gibson, one of the more underrated cards in the game. He's just really good at everything, even if he's not elite in any one area. As a lefty that hits lefties as well as he does, this is a really good-looking card. And maybe not underrated, but he's kind of hidden a little bit. He's not really the main guy you're thinking about, but that's a pretty good card. 93 Tony Gwynn. Really well-rounded, great contact, has no power. I'm just kind of not interested for that reason. And the last team is the Giants. You get an 84 Willie McCovey. And at this point, we have completed all of the collections. For the NL West, you get a 96 Kenley Jansen. He's probably going to be one of the better relievers in the game at this point. He is a 96 overall. And he's got a cutter, slider, sinker. Only a 3-pitch mix. That's really going to hurt him. No change-ups, pretty bad. Cutters and the slider really not as good as they've been in years past from what I can tell so far. Actually, not that great of a card. A little bit disappointed with that. 92 Prince Fielder you get for collecting the NL Central. We've seen a lot of first basemen in the game already that kind of look like this. Decent enough contact, pretty good power. First baseman, it is what it is. For the NL East, you get a really good card. 97 Chase Utley. Kind of a controversial figure, but great contact. Power's really good at second base. Good speed. Great defense. This is like if Ray Durham was juiced and had power. Like a little bit slower, but the power is way better. That Chase Utley is really, really good. But I think Ray Durham is a good budget option. For the AL West, you get a 96 overall Michael Young. He doesn't have great power, but it's still a pretty well-rounded card. This is probably close to what a Derek Jeter would look like if Derek Jeter was in the game. So, take that for what it's worth. But I would very highly doubt we get Derek Jeter in the game. For the AL Central, you get a 93 Grady Sizemore. This is a really good card. Good speed in center, good reaction, fielding. Arm's not great, but he has pretty good contact and pretty good power. This is a really good card, but it's not going to be super cheap to get. The AL Central is going to be one of the more, less expensive collections to do, but that doesn't mean they're all that cheap. And then for the AL East, you get a 96 overall Mike Mussina. Moose. Liked him growing up quite a bit. He's got a sinker, four-seam, knuckle curve, cutter, slider. He's really going to be held back by not having a changeup, and his hits per nine is fairly low, unfortunately. But still could be a decent card. He's going to be a control artist if you see his pitch control in the top right. like you're going to be able to really locate. And that knuckle curve's got a lot of break. Curveballs are going to be a little bit better this year from what I can tell, so that's not a bad card. And then collecting the entire NL gets you 99 Roberto Clemente, one of the best players in MLB history. Tragically passed away too early, but this is a really good card, and they're introducing it at the right point in the year. He's never going to be a guy with elite power, but getting him to 81 and 85 power to start off, that is fantastic. Contact's amazing. Fielding is amazing. This could be a really, really good card. He's not going to be one of these crazy home run hitters probably, unless his swing is one that warrants that, but that's a really, really good card. And then for the AL, you get a 99 Frank Thomas. Now, I've heard his swing isn't great, and he just doesn't hit the ball out, which is a little bit weird to me because he's been amazing in the past, but kills righties, kills lefties, hitting first baseman. He doesn't really have defense or speed, although 50 speed at first base isn't horrible. Just gonna be interesting to see how that card plays. And then completing the entire MLB gets you the big unit, 99 overall, Randy Johnson. Maxed out, K per 9. And I know this is going to sound fairly negative, but if he's the endgame guy, his hits per 9 is a little bit low for the best Randy Johnson that there's going to be. 105, I know that seems crazy to complain about, but it just isn't at that elite level where this card isn't going to have a ton of lasting power. Add that with no sinker and no cutter, which has been the meta in years past. Yeah, this card's still probably going to be decent, but I don't think that he's going to be one of the best pitchers in the game at the end of the year. But he's still going to be one of the top guys within the first few months, I would say. Which, is that worth completing the entire MLB to get? Maybe, maybe not. It remains to be seen. But that is the video of collecting every single card in the game for the live series and what you get as a result. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah. Promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud.